So this is part 3 of Reimagining Leadership webinars for 2025. I am so excited about this. This time we decided to go the module way, to pick a particular module that we are going to go really deep in and just share as much knowledge as we can with particular focus. And the module that we are looking at in this particular webinar, this particular series that's going to be 5 webinars, is effective strategies for dealing or working with people who think and function differently from you. This is because many of the questions that we get, and most when you talk to people in HR and all that, what usually comes up is the need to handle people, people skills, communication, interpersonal relationships. So we said, okay, let's talk about interpersonal relationships, but let us also highlight the fact that people are different. People function different and people think different from you. So all of the five sessions, I was going to say episodes, all of the 5 sessions of this particular series are going to be focused on different aspects of that, dealing with people who function and think differently from you. Now we are kicking off with this particular session is on steering a meeting, because meetings, I don't know who of you has a gift, a gift of leading meetings, but meetings I think are one of the most difficult tasks to accomplish at work. And I think many people are really scared of those and they kind of shy away from that. I think because if you're failing at steering a meeting, everyone can see. Everyone can actually tell that this one is struggling. A document, it is hidden. Doing your own tasks at your desk, at your workstation, it is hidden. But if it comes to steering a meeting and you're not doing it well, everyone can actually tell. So this is something that very many people have an issue with. And that's what we've chosen to start with. How to effectively steer a meeting with a meeting that has different personalities. People are thinking differently. So we are going to have Jose and Dina speak. I don't know who wants to go first. We didn't have a chance to decide that. Who am I going to? I am going to shake the person who came late. Jose, why it had turn on.
Perfectly okay with going first, no problem.
Okay. Yeah, but before you do that, I want each of you, as Jose is sharing, because I know that this is an area that is very sticky for many of us, I want you to start thinking about what it is that you find difficult, what difficulty you find, what is it that makes you shy away from or feel like you want to dodge the whole idea of steering a meeting or being the chair of a meeting. I want you to think about that and organize questions, because I really want us to spend some time answering your questions in this particular webinar. As I invite Jose. Jose, you're going to start. I think you have about 10 minutes. I invite you to share.
Thank you very much. I will use my 10 minutes. Part of them is to remind you, when you are trying to remember Dina's title. One of the titles is Certified Global Leader. You have to remember, that's very key. She's certified globally to lead. So, anyway, welcome to everyone. Thank you for those who are here early. We trust and we know that a few people will be joining along the way, but we want to honor you for being early. So we will always start on time and finish when we said we would finish. That's also a good sign of having a meeting, a good meeting. But why meetings? Why is this important? Like Coach Jennifer has said, some of us are already in places where we are sharing meetings. Some of us are not, but we will get to those spaces. And this usually, it can be an office meeting, it can be an informal meeting, it can even be a clan meeting. But anyway, if you master how to chair meetings properly, just this thing can get you places, because every time they need someone to chair a meeting, they will remember you and call you. Every time they have a big meeting and we have someone important coming who can chair the meeting, your name will come up. So it might seem a small thing, but mastering this thing is what will cause you to progress in places. People fidget when there's a guest coming, when there's an important task and we need people to rally. They are thinking, who can manage, who can chair the meeting? And your name will keep coming up, And what you thought is a small thing can actually turn out to be a very, very strong advantage for you and take you places. So chairing a meeting effectively. Sometimes we think we can because some of us have chaired meetings, but even I had to learn a few things. Um, like uh, Coach Jennifer said, I'm passionate about teams and passionate about team leaders. And for me, this is a very key area. A team leader who is able to deliver a meeting properly and have results. Because there has to be, this is not just chairing a meeting, it has to have results. And so that's where my beginning point is. Usually we say a meeting starts with an agenda, but a meeting starts with a purpose. It doesn't start with an agenda. It starts with a purpose, and the purpose dictates the agenda. So while you are having a meeting, you need to understand, why are we having this meeting? Is it because it's a custom every Monday there's a meeting? And then if it is a custom, you will do the same things. Oh, we do catch up, then we follow this, you will just go because it's a routine. But if you realize, okay, we have meetings every Monday and you are deliberate, this Monday, what do we hone on as a purpose? What do we decide is the purpose for this meeting? So you're not having a meeting just because. You have a purpose. Why are we having this meeting? Purpose will help you to eliminate unnecessary meetings. And purpose will help you to direct meetings that get results. So you're not having meetings because it is a custom, but you're having meetings and you can see the results of that meeting. So decide, what is the purpose of the meeting? Why do you want to have that meeting? Not because it's a general thing, not because we said we agreed every once in a month we'll have a meeting, we agreed every 2 weeks we'll have a, no. Decide what is the purpose of the meeting. If you can decide that, it will be very helpful in a certain, because then now you can set the agenda. If you have a purpose for a meeting, you can set an agenda because you have something you want to achieve. Someone needs to unmute. I don't know if it is Pastor David. Someone needs to mute themselves. Thank you. Thank you. If you have the purpose, then now you can set an agenda before the meeting. And I'll tell you why it's important to set an agenda before. Because usually the custom for most people is you have the meeting, then who is the secretary? Okay, what's the agenda? Then you start from there. But if you know the purpose, you are able to set the agenda before the meeting. And that's important. Why? Because number one, it gives people enough time to prepare. If you prepare the agenda, send it out to people before time, maybe a day or two. Everyone knows in maybe Thursday's meeting, this is what we are going to be discussing on Thursday's meeting. People get to know on Tuesday. And so people prepare themselves. Those who have to make presentations, everyone knows what they're going to discuss. So when you come to the meeting, you don't have things like, let me think of that. I hadn't checked that. I will report to the meeting. I will report. No. You had 2 days in advance. You knew what you were going to discuss. You prepared for the meeting. So people come to the meeting prepared. Those meetings are usually brief. They are very quick because people are not scratching their heads. They have the answers on their fingertips. That's why it's important to prepare the agenda before and send it out before. But the other reason why it's important to have the agenda before is, like we said, people process things differently. There are people who process things immediately, the external processors. You ask a question, they're already talking, they are talking as they process. Then there are internal processors who need time to mull over things, time to think over things, and then they can give their response. So if you send the agenda before time, it gives the internal processors ample time to prepare their thoughts, put things together, so that when they come to the meeting, they are not thinking, they are now delivering. And you will benefit greatly. That's how you can get the best out of internal processors. Because we said we are talking about working with people who are different personalities. And that's one of the personalities. Some people are external processors, they think on the go. Others are internal processors, they want to take time, So a good way of steering meetings is making sure the agenda goes out before. That is starting the meeting before the meeting. The agenda goes out before people prepare. The internal processors have their time. When they come, everyone is delivering top notch. You will have a very effective meeting. But also setting the agenda early, knowing the purpose, setting the agenda early helps you to decide who should be in the meeting. Because sometimes we have staff meetings and everyone is there just because it's a staff meeting. Sometimes you have meetings every Monday and everyone is there because they said on Monday, everyone has to be in the meeting. But have you been in a meeting and you're wondering, what on earth am I doing in this meeting? It has nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you. But because it's a custom on Monday, everyone has to be there for the morning meeting. Everyone is there. But if you know the purpose of the meeting, you have set the agenda, then you know who should be in that meeting. It helps you. Because if you can have the people that are responsible for that task, the people that are concerned in the meeting, things go quickly. Things move very quickly. You don't waste a lot of time. Things move very, very quickly. So knowing the purpose helps you to decide who will be in the meeting. And then you can have a very effective meeting. But also the other thing, now that that is done, when you are in the meeting, you need to know your people. That's one thing we are saying, working, having effective meetings with people who are different. You need to know who your people are. The reason why that is important is then you will understand people's responses. Usually someone will say something and you don't know, you're like, okay. But if you know that person's personality, then you know why they said what they said. If you know they are thinking, I worked with a group of people, Dutch people. You'd been in a meeting and there are some Dutch people, there are some English people, there are some South Africans, as the only East African. But I realized very early, one of the Dutch people is a thinker. So his responses are from a thinking perspective. He's a dreamer. You might quickly dismiss him because you think his head is always in the stars. But that is his personality. He's a dreamer. He sees things that others don't see. If you understand that about him, then you will know how valuable that person is to the meeting, and you will take his suggestions with weight because they are able to see what others don't, beyond the normal. Those are the people that move you out of the box. They move you out of the extraordinary. Then I had another gentleman whose mind was always growth. So every response he gave was attached to growth. If you do not know that, you'll be frustrated. You're like, we are trying to build here. Why are your answers about growth? But knowing that this gentleman, his answers that's his mind. He's important because he helps the company move forward. His responses are about extending the company. You can quickly dismiss him saying, this guy we are talking about now. But if you know him, he's very valuable because those are the people that help the company grow. So their suggestions in meetings, their opinions in meetings are very important. You have to make room for them. And that it helps you to understand their answers. If you understand them, it helps you to understand their answers. And the other person in the group was more about growing the people here. That was his mentality. How do we grow people here? And so if you don't know him and you're chairing the meeting and you're on growth, you might dismiss him thinking this guy is small-minded. He's small-minded. But his suggestions were essential in grounding what we had achieved so far. They were helpful in grounding what we had obtained, in making sure it is cemented very well. So you need to know your people in the meetings. Then you will know the weight that their suggestions carry. You will know the weight that their opinions carry. If you have to have a successful meeting, you need to know your people. That way you create space for everyone. I just said two more things. I think I'm running out of time. But the other thing is, make sure, having a successful meeting also, make sure that you provide room for people who learn differently. Not everyone learns by listening. Some people learn by visual. They get stuff easily by visual. So you might need to prepare a presentation for some people because they are visual. When they see something, they will remember what it was. But usually the meetings are run on just a talking basis. But make sure you prepare something visual. Some people just like to read later on when they go back. So if you have to have something prepared, a document or something, make provision for that. That's how you steer a good meeting and have results at the end of the day, because you have catered for people's different learning ways. The other thing I think I'll just end with is make sure, it seems obvious, but make sure everyone has understood. Make sure, have you gotten out of a meeting and later on you're discussing, you're like, but this is what they said. And the other person's like, no, this is what they said. No, this is what they said. Make sure everyone understands what you are talking about. If you need to ask questions to make confirmation, ask questions and make sure everyone understands. Because some people, like I say, people understand, process information differently. So make sure you ask the questions. Do you understand? Are you on board? If someone has to repeat something, let them do so. But make sure you cater for the different different learners in the room, the different people in the room. And that way everyone will go out. You're all on board. You all know what you're going to do. And always have a backup email that you go with at the end of the meeting. Have a backup email, which saves two things. One, if there's a dispute, you know where to turn to. But two, if someone has forgotten what was said, or someone needs to know who is handling what, they can always refer to the email. So know your people, learn your people, then you will know their thoughts. You will also prepare effectively for them on how to dispense information, and you'll also help them by preparing ahead of time, sending the agendas early. I think we're out of time. I will just stop it at that, even though there's a lot to say.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jose. Let me give you those. Let me give you those. I'm looking for them. Give me a second. Give me a second. Send effect. Is it the effect? Yes. Thank you very much. You're going to have more time. You're going to have more time to share. I think as before we get to dinner, I said I want you to begin to ask yourselves these questions. Where is it, when Jose was speaking, where is the gap? Where do you see a gap in the way that you steer meetings? Is it in not knowing the purpose of the meeting? Is it in not setting an agenda? Is it in not sending out the agenda early? Is it in not knowing who should be in the meeting? Do you just go inviting everyone and people are even asking, why are you inviting me? Is it in not understanding the people in your meeting, how they learn, what's important to them? Not understanding, just you don't know, the people are there, but you don't know when this one says this is what they mean. Is it in not making sure that everyone is on board? When you agreed on something, everyone understood what you agreed on. And is it in not following up? Where is it that you see the gap? Because we want you to live here. This is not just a talking webinar. We want you to live here with practical things that you can start doing. So I want you to begin to note down those things. We are going to be asking questions very, very soon. So note down those things and see where it is that you have a gap and what sort of question you have so that we can answer them today, here, and now. I'm now going to invite, forgive me, Global Certified Leader for not acknowledging your greatness. I apologize. I'm going to invite Dina to now share. You have 10 minutes as well. Let us welcome Dina as she shares.
Myself. Thank you, Coach Jennifer. Just kindly confirm for me that you can hear me. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. You're welcome, people. Thank you so much for joining us for this first session of our part 3 of the Reimagine Leadership webinar series. It's a ride, so buckle up. We're still here for 5 sessions, and there's so much that we're going to unpack. You will find out. I'm not the host for this particular session, so I will not take it over. But the topic today is something which is personally close to me. It sounds simple, like, how to steer a meeting with different personalities. Sounds like very simple. But if you think about it, and I would like us to start at that point, just imagine your last meeting, whether it was online or it was physical. How was the meeting? Most likely, there were like 4 categories of people in that meeting. If you remember correctly, there should have been that one person who has like something to say about everything. They just won't stop talking. And then maybe there's that person who is hardly saying anything. They're mostly quiet. If I was in that meeting, probably that was me, because contrary to many opinions, because of the work that I do and the way that I am, people think I should be those kinds of people who are always contributing and contributing and contributing. But most of the time in meetings, I'm the internal processor that Jose was just talking about. I'll sit quietly, watch everyone who is talking, and I'm processing my things in there. Many times I might leave a meeting without saying anything, not because I don't have any ideas. And take this home to whatever meeting it was, whether it was at work, whether it was in a church setting, in a fellowship, whether it was in a project meeting, like a discussion with your group mates, whether it was whatever the meeting was, even if it was a family meeting. And what I'm going to talk about is just one principle. So I said there could be like 4 people. One, the one that has something to say about everything. And then, just excuse me. Okay. Sorry about that. So I was saying that the second person is my kind of person who is like quiet, not saying so much. The third person is that person who questions everything, like whatever idea others raise, have a question about it. And then there's also that person who just can't wait for the whole thing to be over. Let's get it over with and just go. All those people are present. And you, as the leader for that particular meeting, I have just one principle for you. You're not there to dominate the space. You're not there to dominate the airtime. You're there to balance it. You're there to make room for every voice inside that place, whatever the space is. You're there to make room for every voice. You're there to unlock the best in that room. You're not there to come off as the smartest or as the one who has the best things to say. You're there to make sure you unlock collective intelligence that is in that room. And how you do that is what's important. Because as Jose mentioned, you can leave a meeting and you think we've spent so much time here, we've done so much, and you walk away and literally either people have not understood what the meeting was about or even what the conclusions were, or you're not on the same page. These think this and these think the other. Or maybe you went with the loudest person and missed out on the ideas of the quiet ones. By the way, the quiet people, if you give them a moment, you will find they carry gold most of the time. They have brilliant ideas, and yours is to make sure you strike a balance. Because at the end of the day, you'd like to leave a meeting where everyone feels valued, everyone feels heard, and they feel that they have contributed to whatever the agenda was, whatever the purpose was. They feel that they have contributed. Otherwise, and for those in the corporate space, you know this, there are times you're in a meeting and the meeting ends, and 30 minutes later, there's somebody who's still logged on. The meeting ended like 30 minutes ago, and for them, they're still logged on. That one just serves to show you that that person was not in the meeting. They were logged in, but they were not in the meeting, if you know what I mean. So how then do you make sure you make room for each and every voice? The loud ones, those ones will always speak. Whether or not you point at them, whether or not you say what, they will make whatever they have to say heard. However, you as the leader, yours is to make sure you kind of, without shutting them down, without putting them down, you cause them to reflect, you cause them to also make room for other people, to hear others. And you do that by maintaining your place as the owner of the meeting, right? You must not let them dominate because they can so easily take over. That's just how they are. And then secondly, for the quiet ones, they just really want you to make a moment for them. And like I said, I'll use myself as an example. So for me, I learned this. I didn't even think it was so important in the corporate, but like back home, when they have like family meetings, I would realize I'm not really saying so much. I'm just there seated quiet. And then my dad would just be like, so Dina, what do you think? What's your mind on this? You've been mostly quiet. What were you thinking? That alone, I mean, it feels like wanting attention, But sometimes that small nudge is what the quiet person needs to make them know that you recognize and acknowledge that they're in the meeting, and also acknowledge the value that they might carry. So that small nudge can push them to actually voice their thoughts, can push them actually share their ideas. It can be done in the meeting, but also as a team leader or as the leader at that moment, you can make room for them, even if it's afterwards. But within the meeting, that nudge of, can we hear from someone who has not spoken? Can we hear from such and such a person? Even name them, like you say their name. It will call them into the space where you are. It will call them into the meeting and cause them to share what's going on in their mind and share their ideas. And then you also take advantage of like peer sharing, teaming up people. When people do breakout sessions in meetings, especially these online meetings, it's not for nothing. It's not for just the show of it. It's not for just using all the tools that are within the platform that you're using, like for Zoom, for example, and you do a breakout session where the larger meeting, like we are here, breaks into maybe groups 3, 4, like that. There are people who will not be able to speak with all 20 of us, but then they'll be able to speak in a group where it's just 3 or 4 people. So breakout sessions help you to kind of make room for those people also. And it even kind of shines the light on them, right? Because when it's 20 people, you can disappear somewhere in there and nobody asks you to say anything. But when it's just 3 of you brainstorming on an idea, maybe share opinions and all of that, you'll find a platform has been created for even the one who would have left without saying. So you take advantage of most of those tools. And I've even seen it in some physical meetings where they tell you to like break away, maybe like 2, 3 people, share an idea or do rotations, so that at the end of the day, at the end of the meeting, every voice has been heard, every opinion has been heard, not because you're going to carry all the opinions away, but because you make better decisions if you hear all the voices in the room. The voice of those who think fast, the voice of those who process and take some time, the voice of those who are naturally too quiet, you get to hear them so that you make decisions from a better place. So for everything that I could have said today, what I would like for you to take away as a leader or as somebody who steers a meeting, you're not there to just dominate. You're not there to sound like the smartest. You are there to make sure that the meeting yields the best. It yields like collective intelligence. Every voice, every mind in the room has been put to good use, and the result is beneficial for all. So next time you're in that meeting, remember the 4 people I spoke about and try to make sure that you bring each one of them into the meeting and make sure each one of them gives their best and does their contribution. Thank you so much. I will not push it anywhere beyond that. Thank you, Jennifer. Back to you.
Wow, Dina, as in within time, even as in 26 seconds. You are practically within time. Let's give her those claps and just thank her for sharing. This was your kind of on the same. But thank you very much for sharing. As I said, we're going to be asking questions. You shared that you're not there to dominate the meeting. I think many people think that when you're chairing the meeting, it's about your voice being heard. If that is you, maybe we need to ask a question. I like the statement that you used, unlocking the collective intelligence. I'm going to use that somewhere. I've never had that phrase being used. As in your job as the person who is steering or chairing the meeting is to unlock the collective intelligence. I might give reference, but I love that. I'm supposed to share for 10 minutes, but as I prepared for this meeting, by the way, I had really prepared. Let me even show you. I prepared that much, and then I cancelled it because I felt like it was too technical. Then I reduced it. This was me at 2 a.m. yesterday. I reduced it to this. But when I woke up today, I felt like we needed to hear more from you, to hear more about the questions that you have. And I really want you to ask those questions that you have, the deep questions that you have, where you look at yourself and you're like, when it comes to steering a meeting, this is where I feel like I am lacking. I'd like you to either to start pondering and putting those questions in the chat as I share briefly. Whether if you don't put the questions in the chat, I'm going to reach out to you because I know that you came, some of you came here and you have questions that you need answers to. So I want us to take my time and the rest of the session just to answer those questions so that you leave here with real help, real tangible help. Now I'm going to reemphasize what Dina said about when it comes to steering a meeting. The way that I say it is, she said you're not there to dominate, I say you're there to serve. When they say that you're going to be the chair of the meeting, many people think that it makes you the big man. No, it doesn't make you the big man or the big woman. You are there to serve the meeting. And it's not to serve the people, actually. You are there to serve the agenda of the meeting, to make sure that whatever it is that was said, Jose talked about the purpose first and then the agenda, the purpose, why we are meeting, the agenda, what we are discussing this particular time. You're there to make sure that that is achieved. Whatever it is that you need to do. As Dina talked about, as in making sure that the one who hogs all the time, you manage them. Making sure that the person who is quiet, you hear their contribution. Making sure that the one who's always asking questions, you find a way of managing them. Or the one who wants to leave, who's just like, where are we here? You find a way of managing and balancing all that so that the agenda, the purpose of the meeting is achieved. So I think what I want you to ask yourself first is, what is it that is difficult for you? What have you found difficult as a person when they tell you, please chair this meeting, or please steer this meeting, or please manage this meeting? When you think about you yourself, when you think about a past meeting and you even like, Banang, I wish you wanted to go under the table. What was it that was difficult? What was it that was difficult for you? So that's one thing, and I want to now like to turn that into a question so that we can answer that question for you. And there are no silly questions here. You can ask any question. As I told you, if I don't see them coming up in the chat, put them in the chat. I shall probe you because I know that you have questions. I think the second thing that I want you to ask yourself is, what usually distracts you when you're leading a meeting? What is it that usually distracts you? Do you usually get caught up in just going with the person who is speaking and you forget about the quiet people? Do you end up over-focusing on trying to get the quiet people to contribute? Do you get offended by the person who keeps shooting down everything and you just end up losing track of the meeting because you got offended? Do you look at the people who just want to get out of the meeting and you feel like we need to rush because maybe that's a big person who feels like their time is being wasted? What distracts you as you're leading, and in the end you fail at your job of serving the agenda and the purpose of the meeting? And what questions do you have around there? How might you want to be helped? And I think the last question is, what do you need to learn? When you've listened to everything that has been taught, has been spoken about here, sorry, not taught, spoken about here, deciding on purpose, setting the agenda, deciding who should be in the meeting, understanding the people in the meeting, making sure that everyone has understood, following up at the end, not dominating, being able to unlock the collective intelligence, understanding how to manage the different characters. What is it that you feel that you need to learn? And what question do you have there? In these webinars, I'm seeing a lot of new people. These are not webinars for just talking. These are webinars for equipping with practical, doable, implementable skills. So we want you to live here knowing that this one thing I can implement in the next meeting. So I just open the floor to you to ask questions. I'm not seeing a question here. Do you have any question? Okay. So Emmanuel has said, chairing the meeting means you are there to serve the purpose of the agenda, steer the meeting, and understand the characters in the meeting. That is new to me. I'm very happy. I'm very happy that you've learned something new. So do you have any questions? Please put the questions in the chat before I start calling you and asking you to just share what it is you've learned or what question you have. Are there any questions before I start reaching out? Because I know that you have questions. Okay, that is awesome. Thank you. You knew that I would call out your name. So I'm going to just start with the questions that are coming up. This is from Emmanuel, who's learned that he's there to serve the purpose, the agenda of the meeting. How do you ensure that the quieter voices are heard without derailing? That's a very good one. Without derailing the dominant ones. So Dina, you're going to start, and then Jose will also give a response. So Dina, how do you ensure that quieter voices are heard without derailing dominant ones? Dina, you're muted.
Thank you very much. That's a very important question, and I'm glad that you asked. So, first of all, I would like to say that in as much as you're not there to dominate, do not give up your authority as the one who is steering the meeting. Because the people who are usually talkative, the ones who are easy, like they just voice their opinions and all of that, it's easy for them to take over a meeting if they find that you're not solid in how you're leading it or in how you're steering it. So even as you allow them chance, even as you allow them room to say what they have to say to make their contribution, it is still your meeting. And that's where things like timelines come in. If I have given you a minute to say what you have to say, I expect you to say what you have to say and then respect that time, and I take back my meeting, right? So that way you can regulate them and also cause them to, I wouldn't want to say shut up, but you cause them to kind of calm down and get to listen to others, get to listen to another opinion that might be different from theirs, right? And then because you are the meeting leader, the quiet ones most likely will not speak unless you probe. Most likely you will end the meeting when they have not said anything. And usually, this one is speaking from experience, sometimes the people keep quiet, not because they don't have what to say, but because they process too fast. For my sake, I process too fast, like I move too quickly. So I find I have so many things I could possibly say, so I end up saying that. So now, unless, and my dad did this for me, but I found it helpful when I do it for other people. For him, he would just outrightly be like, Dina, you've been so quiet. What do you think? There, because now the spotlight, which is uninvited, has come to cause me to at least voice one of the so many things that's going on in my mind. It's like I said, there are statements that you can use, phrases, very deliberate, by the way, that you can use to say, okay, let's hear from someone who has not said anything. Meanwhile, because you're the one steering the meeting, you know who has not said anything. You know who has been largely quiet. You know who has been, have you seen those meetings where someone picks on you and you were on your phone because you thought nobody was watching or nobody was seeing you? It kind of brings the message home that, hey, I was watching. I was seeing that you're not with us. And the way, sometimes you even know, like for me, I know when they're going to pick me. Deep down, I can hear it when someone says, let's hear from someone who has not said anything yet. In my head, I'm like, they're going to mention my name. And sure thing, they mention it. So for the quiet ones, you have to like be deliberate, seek their mind, and you can even give a guiding like kind of question. It doesn't have to be so generic, because if it's generic, then maybe their thoughts are too wild. And even for those who are still processing, they may not know how to exactly air in the heat of the moment. So two things for me: own the meeting so that the dominant ones don't override you. You let them speak, but with moderation. That's the word. Like you moderate them, you let them share, and then allow space for others to also share. But then for the quiet ones, you will have to probe. There's some 3 statements that I came with. I think I'll just drop them in the chat, which can like help you to do the probing. They help you to call on to the ones who are a little bit more quiet to make their contribution. So I'll just drop those ones in the chat.
Can you say them? Can you say them before you end?
Okay.
Because I want them to be recorded.
Okay. Let me just give me a second.
As you're thinking, Jose, you're not going to answer this question. You're going to answer the next question because Dina has answered this exhaustively. You're going to answer the next question. Do you have the statements ready, Dina?
Oh, I had written. Okay, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say something like, let's pause for a moment. And does anyone who hasn't spoken want to say anything? You know, you deliberately pause the meeting to hear someone who has not said anything. And you say, does anyone who hasn't spoken yet want to add anything? Then the other is, what's another perspective that we have not had? You know, maybe they've kept quiet because they feel like their opinion is controversial or different from what has already been shared. So you can just deliberately ask, what's another perspective that we have not had? And then third is the straight away statement that I used earlier of, say, Dina, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What do you have to say? Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Dina. You might have answered. I'll look at Mugerwa Brian's question, but I hope, let's see, you might give him more direction there. So we're going to answer a question from Joy. This goes to you, Jose. How best can I ensure that people execute when a follow-up email has been sent to them? This gives me a hard time. Jose, I'm giving you like 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Thank you. If we all agreed on what we would do, have sent out the email, I can do a follow-up, just a catch-up, brief 1 or 2, 3 minutes catch-up, just to check on you. How are you doing? How far have you gone? What are you implementing? Just to beyond the email, if I need to, beyond the email, I'll just specifically come to you and just have a quick stand-up meeting, catch-up meeting. How far have you gone? What is giving you a hard time? How can we move forward with this? Because sometimes people are not executing, not because they don't want to, but either you did not know that they are not able to, or they are overloaded with tasks, or they are like a deer in lights. They are stuck for some reason or another. So sometimes I think people just are not executing because they are stubborn. But there has to be a reason why they're not executing. Either they don't think it's necessary, because sometimes someone can tell you something and you know it's not necessary. And you just be like, I won't do it. So for me, after the email, if I realize something is not happening, a quick catch-up meeting. How far have you gone? What are you doing? What is the hard difficulty? How can we move this forward? I won't just say, this person is not executing. I want to find out why, because when I find out why, then I can know how to move on, how we can both move on forward. I hope that's helpful.
I think it's very helpful. I think the main thing that you said was it's assuming that they are not executing just because they are being stubborn. Maybe the thing, Joy, is to first be on. Don't take it personally. There might be other reasons why the person is doing that. So first, take that attitude. Even if in the end they are just being stubborn, you go with the whole attitude of let us find out what's going on. How can I help you to do what you're meant to do? So I think it's that general attitude. Thank you very much for answering, Jose. This one is going to go to you, Dina. It's a long one. Brian is not happy, but it's a very long one. His only issue is the loud ones. You talked about the different kinds of people. As a chairman, I always find it hard to balance between the loud ones and the rest of the other 3 categories that Miss Dina talked about. When I try to give others room to talk, they don't allow it to happen. So maybe my question is, how do I politely shift focus to the other people without the loud ones, thinking that even after talking for 30 minutes, as in they don't think that they are throwing off their own opinion. How do you, I think this is dealing with a strong character. How do you shift to the others when this loud one still wants to talk. I think it's in how do you manage the control? How do you regain control of the meeting, Dina? You have 3 minutes. Dina? I can't see you and I can't hear you. Are you there, Dina? Okay, Jose, answer this. I don't know what's up. Oh, she's there. You're muted.
Sorry.
3 minutes.
Okay, this is an interesting one, and it's a real challenge. But also, I'm laughing because the way it was phrased, there you can picture that kind of room when when that is happening. So this is what I think, and I will also allow the rest of the team to contribute. But what I think is, for the loud ones, it usually helps when you acknowledge their opinion, when you make them see and feel that their opinion has been heard and duly noted. You don't, and here communication is very important. How you communicate that acknowledgement is very important. You don't put it out. There are two attitudes here. There's me saying, okay, that's duly noted, like we've had you. And then there's, first of all, repeating back to them what they have said and how it's important. And they call it reverse psychology, but it works. It does work. Repeat back to the person what they have said, make them see that you have actually acknowledged their opinion and it's being considered. And then just gradually shift the focus to allow them see another, not completely different, but help them see it from another light or see it from another angle. So I find that it really helps to acknowledge the loud one. Most of the time, that's all that they want without even realizing it. And it's not that they're doing it on purpose. That's just how they are. That's just how they are. So acknowledge them. Let them know that their opinion has been heard and it's being considered. And then you have to find a way to transition it. I wish I could have like an example scenario of like a discussion where you just shift them to see like either an adjacent or even the other side of the coin. And actually, you get them to acknowledge the other people's opinions by shifting it back to them. You know, like you voice what the other person is saying, and then you, how can I put it? They've already been speaking 30 minutes, right? So honestly, it just helps just acknowledge them. For me, that's what I think. And because here you're saying, without making them feel like you're putting them down, usually it is language and how we communicate that makes other people feel like you're just shutting them up and putting them down. I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are within your time. I think the thing that you're talking about, I like that reverse psychology. First of all, the 30 minutes there, Brian, you refer to what Dina talked about earlier. But with a lot of people, give them a fixed time to speak, but then also say back to them what they said and then use it as a reference to invite the others so that they kind of feel like their opinion, like how you said, Dina has just said, I don't know what the last thing she said was, but it's like you use that to invite the others to kind of add or to whatever it is. So they feel like, oh, yes, my opinion. Others are even going to come in and add to that. So I think, as you said, it's just in the wording. It's just in the wording. We have 8 minutes, and I'm seeing like 2 more questions. This one is going to go to you, Jose. Meetings can be chaotic at times. How can we diffuse such moments and keep the meeting on track? And Emmanuel added, especially when 2 strong personalities are clashing. Chaotic clashing, as in what happens when now 2 loud people with opposing opinions begin to go at it in a meeting? How do you diffuse that? and get the meeting back on track. Jose, this is perfect for you. I've been giving you 4 minutes.
Not sure why it's perfect for me, but I think one of my greatest tools is humor. One of my greatest tools is humor. There is nothing humor, very few things where humor cannot work. I will find something to say in a humorous way that will cause everyone to first pause. It can be very funny. I can say, now look at you two big men fighting over this. And sometimes it's just fun. But honestly, I use humor a lot to diffuse situations. I always find something funny. But then also when people are, at it, you are the chairman, you're leading the meeting. So you let people know, guys, if we need 1 minute, we're going to take 1 minute, everyone breathe. So just that pause, that pause is very important. So guys, 1-2 minutes, let's just pause. Let everyone come back to their normal, their normal selves. This is not you. I know you're passionate. And it's not to just say, guys, no, everyone is passionate. That's why they're talking. So you tell guys, I know this is important to you, and I know it's equally important to you. That's why you're this passionate. And that's why we're going to find a way to do this. So acknowledge the fact that don't just say they are acknowledge the fact that they are passionate. This is important. Take a breather if you have to. 1 minute, 2 minutes, it won't kill you. Take a breather. Pause that thing. Either pause and say, let's pause it. Let's go and dig more and then come back to it. Or if it has to be decided there and then, let everyone know, okay, guys, let's listen to each other, then we can respond properly. So just say, guy, okay, you have your 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Let's hear you uninterrupted. You have your 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Let's hear you uninterrupted. Wonderful. We've had all your opinions. Everyone else will give their opinions on this matter, and then we'll see the best way forward. It's just to acknowledge that each one is passionate because they have a reason why, but also give each one time to speak and then now decide, let them know that we are chairing the meeting. Everyone here is as passionate. We might not express our passion that way, but this is all important to us. And that's why every one of us is going to have an opinion. It's not just the two of us, not the two of you. Everyone is going to have an opinion. So take time, use humor, or take time, take a breather, 1 or 2 minutes. Acknowledge the fact that they're not just being stubborn, they are passionate because this is important to them. Give each one time. Let them know that you are all equally passionate and that all of you will say something and then now make the decision. Or if it's a bit too heated, say, guys, we'll come back to this. Let's think about it for maybe 1 or 2 days. We'll come back when everyone is a bit level-minded. We'll finish this. Let's move on to 1, 2, 3 agenda, the number 2, 3 on the agenda. Then we'll come back. But if it is crucial, it has to be finished in that meeting. Give everyone, both of them, uninterrupted time. And then everyone else can voice their opinion on those matters. And then you can proceed. I hope that is helpful.
Even me as me, I am helped. I hope that has answered your question, Hope and Emmanuel, as you added. Now, Janet, I think he has answered the second half because you said when there is a fight between people in the meeting, he's answered that. The first part of the question is, I'm wondering how to handle negative people in the room who try to put others down in a meeting or those who oppose other contributors in a harsh way. Now I'm going to answer this. We have only 4 minutes, and I'm going to hand over to Jose for 1 minute to give his closing remarks, and then Dina will close out the meeting. But just to let you know, Janet, when you're steering the meeting, it's about you're serving the agenda of the meeting. Now, the mistake that we usually make with people who sound negative or who are harsh towards people is thinking that they are just being negative for their sake. These are usually people who are very good at seeing things that don't work. They are very good at identifying the problems. They are very good at identifying what is going to cause whatever the agenda is to fail. That is the gift that they have, and you need them in the meeting. The problem is they usually blurt out. What they say out is the end result, and it sounds harsh and it sounds negative. But then what I have learned to do is when someone gives a proposal and they say, that's off, it won't work. What I've learned to do is to ask them, what makes you think it won't work? Or what makes you think this is going to fail? Because different things quickly and then to come up with that conclusion. And when I've asked that questions, they have always given us such gems that we had not noticed, all of us in a meeting had not noticed. And if we hadn't asked them, it would have failed. It would have actually failed. So I think the thing for you to remember is they are not just being negative. They are giving you the conclusion of an evaluation that they have had. So your job as the person steering the meeting and the one who is serving the agenda and purpose is to help them to break down that evaluation so that you can pick out what you need to pick and make the necessary adjustments and succeed, as in achieve the purpose, the agenda of the meeting. So they are not negative. It's just that they don't know how to express what it is that they have evaluated. So I think that is what I've found that has actually worked. It really, really helps me so much, and it helps, it's what Dana said, unlocking the collective intelligence. You unlock that bit of intelligence that they haven't said well, but that is necessary for the success of the meeting and of whatever project you're on. So as I end, I'm going to hand over to Jose. But I want each of you, if you can just go on your social medias and just share what it is that you learned and tag us, please tag us, because we want to also see what it is that you've learned, what your takeaway is. We'd really feel happy just seeing you just sharing what you learned, lessons, what you're going to implement, the different things from this that came up from this webinar. So I'm going to just hand over to Jose 1 minute, and then Dina will close us out. We have 1 minute left. Jose?
Thank you. I'll just the one who showed up. Everybody is valuable. There is no one that we think, obviously this person will tell them. No, each one of you is really valuable. My encouragement to you is it's just 4 more meetings left, 1 hour every week. Please make this a priority. There are going to be very, very valuable things that we will be learning from the different experiences that we have accumulated. Today is just the start, but the next ones are there's really going to be lots of things that you can actually begin to implement and see results. Our passion is to see you rising to where you're supposed to be. And we will do whatever we have to do to ensure that you become what you were meant to be. But each of you is very valuable. And from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for spending this 1 hour with us.
Dina?
Thank you, Jose. Thank you so much, Coach Jennifer. Thank you for everyone for making time for this. I think my last note or my bonus note for this topic that we had today is, as the one steering the meeting, you need to set your expectations early. If you want to hear from everyone, then set the expectation early that I would like to have every voice heard in this meeting, so that later on, when you stop some people and call on others, it doesn't look like imposing or cutting them off. It's just getting the expectation to play out. For me, who usually finds myself chairing meetings where there are so many men and what, sometimes I have to like outrightly say, can I have my meeting back? You know? Because sometimes, especially for the hard personalities or the strong personalities, as we call them, you just have to, mirror that for them so they see what it's like. But anyways, I hope that this is very helpful for you. And like Coach Jennifer said, we would really love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your feedback. If you have any testimonies, we'd love to hear them. If you're connected to any one of us, you can reach out. If you have any more questions, of course, this is just 1 hour. It can't be exhaustive. But if you have questions, you can reach out to Coach Jennifer, reach out to Jose, reach out to myself, and we would love to see you again. I usually say that it's just 1 hour every Tuesday at 1 p.m. If you are in the East African time zone, that's lunchtime. And we would love to have lunch with you. We're a very great company. So we have 4 more sessions coming up. Just mark your calendar. And of course, the reminders will be coming through if you registered. If you haven't, please register so that you can get a reminder for when the next session comes up. Otherwise, we really acknowledge you. We thank you so much for making time for this, and we'd love to see you again next week on Tuesday. Have yourselves a wonderful week, and we want to hear about how the meetings went because it's Tuesday. Meetings are coming up. Bye, people.